This is the first in a 30-part series seeking to provide a comprehensive overview of the insect orders. I will be defining them in detail, exploring their ecology, what makes them unique, and why their features work. There are 30 orders of true insects, and silverfish are the second oldest and most primitive of them all. These insects actually predate insect flight in evolutionary history, and their strategy has lasted over 350 million years with very few changes. Silverfish are covered in scales. These scales are like the scales on a butterfly's wings, but they differ in that the scales of a butterfly are used to reflect light for color and thermoregulation. The scales of a silverfish are primarily for defense. In addition, silverfish possess 3 distinct tails. 2 of these are called cerci, and the middle one is called the terminal filament. These appendages are highly sensitive to vibrations and provide near 360-degree coverage of the silverfish's surroundings. They function somewhat as secondary antennae. This allows the silverfish to avoid predation more effectively, as it essentially has eyes in the back of its head. This is important because the actual eyes of the silverfish are primitive, mainly serving to sense changes in light. This helps them determine whether or not they are in a safe hiding place, which is an essential adaptation for their nocturnal, light-averse lifestyle. Silverfish look and function a bit more like small terrestrial crustaceans than most insects, because they've retained a more ancestral arthropod body plan. Some of the clues towards this are the many similar segments, the residual abdominal limbs, that is the cerci and terminal filament, their direct or ametabolous development, and a uniform, that is continuous exoskeleton, whereas other insects evolved tagmatization, which are distinct body regions, with, say, wings, metamorphosis, and advanced water regulation. Silverfish stayed closer to their crustacean roots. This more crustacean-like body plan helps them to molt easier, which they do continuously, unlike other insects. Silverfish do not undergo true metamorphosis. They molt like all insects, but they differ in that they never stop molting, and do so continuously throughout their lives. Silverfish can live up to 8 years, which is an exceptionally rare feature among insects. This molting strategy would not work for winged insects, which will be discussed in greater detail in future videos. Mating in silverfish is quite unique among insects. Silverfish deposit spermatophores on the ground after performing a complex mating ritual that can last for hours. This is different from most insects, which have a more direct form of copulation. The use of spermatophores by silverfish is considered far more primitive and makes them more similar to spiders and other crustaceans. Silverfish are generalist detritivores, meaning they decompose organic material such as starches, sugars, clothing fibers, fungi, and even dead insects. They can even digest the cellulose found in wood, although they're not quite as good at it as termites. They do not hunt. Silverfish live in dark, moist areas like forest floors, caves, and other undisturbed humid environments. So what makes silverfish unique? The silverfish has existed for hundreds of millions of years in the same generalist detritivore niche, feeding on decaying organic matter, starches, and a wide range of carbohydrates. It's remained virtually unchanged throughout this time, allowing it to persist while countless other insect lineages have radically diversified or gone extinct. In addition, as plant matter, starches, and carbohydrates have become more nutritionally valuable over time, so too does the niche of the silverfish become proportionally successful. So the combination of ecological generalism, low competition, and expanding food availability has allowed the silverfish to remain essentially the same morphologically and behaviorally for hundreds of millions of years. When an organism has reached the pinnacle in this way, we call it evolutionary stasis. This makes them an ancient living relic, similar to coelacanths, horseshoe crabs, and crocodiles. But just because you've been in a niche for a long time doesn't mean you don't face competition. And silverfish have actually had to differentiate what they eat and how they eat it when compared to, say, cockroaches or book lice or other insects found within the detritivore niche. So let's examine a bit what their differences from cockroaches exactly are. Silverfish have a slower metabolism, which means they require less energy to survive. This allows them to live much longer than most cockroaches. While cockroaches seem like better silverfish in many ways because they eat a wider variety of higher energy foods, run faster, reproduce more quickly, and many species can even fly, silverfish still maintain their relevance. But why? The reason is silverfish play the long game. Unlike cockroaches, which thrive on adaptability and high energy food sources, silverfish survive on low quality, carbohydrate-rich materials like paper, glue, and fabric. Resources like this remain stable and abundant over time. Cockroaches are generalist omnivores that eat almost anything, while silverfish are generalist detritivores that specialize in starches and fibrous materials, things that never go out of fashion. Rather than directly competing, cockroaches, silverfish, and even book lice have carved out distinct ecological niches. Cockroaches dominate through speed, adaptability, and reproductive success, while silverfish excel at patience, longevity, and resource conservation. Silverfish are the generalist's generalist, ancient insects that have remained relevant in direct competition against the millions of insect species that came after them. Their niche is enlightening in its stability and underscores the specificity of adaptation and the effect time has on diet, habitat, and ecology. Thanks for watching this episode of Privileged Bug Facts. Stay tuned for more content just like this.